Alright, here we are.
Hey everybody, welcome to AK Geeks. This is our The Walking Dead review. I'm Sean. With me I have Lynn.
What's up, everybody?
And on today's episode, we're going to be reviewing episode 13 from season 8 of The Walking Dead.
Hold on one sec. You keep going.
It's called Do Not Send Us Astray. Let me read a little bit about what it's supposed to be called, what it's about. Trouble arises when unexpected visitors arrive at the hilltop and the community is thrust into action. Heartbreaking discoveries are made. Now, Lynn, as we discussed before this, we both have issues with this episode.
Yeah.
What's going on? I can't see you.
Hold on one second. You talk about yours real quick. I got my sister calling me.
Alright, I'm going to start off with some of the things I like from this episode. First off, one thing I like from this episode is the plan Maggie puts together to protect the people. That is really smart of her, but also there was other that they start talking about later on in the episode conversations that make it seem not as well planned or as honorable as we think.
Yeah.
But overall, still like what she did with the planning of holding them off and tricking them to draw them in so they can save the gate. That was the main thing that they said. You saved the gate, which is going to protect them in the long run. But in the short run, they also taught there's a conversation that Maggie reveals that it was selfish. You know.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that aspect of the episode. I like the planning by Maggie.
Well, what I did like when it comes to, since we're specifically talking Maggie, was at the beginning how she's being complimented as a leader.
Yes.
And though she doesn't feel that way, she lets it go. But
selfish.
Right. And then at the end, when that same woman looks at her like, "What's wrong?" and she was like, "The cost." You know, because they buried a lot of their own this time out. Which
will go to reflect on something that I think is super negative about the episode. But this episode, like I said, you have Maggie, stepping up and protecting the hilltop from an attack by the Saviors, which we saw in a tease from last week. I liked her planning. I like her putting it together. I like her stepping up to the plate and doing this. Rick is there, but it seems like it's all Maggie's doing,
I thought Rick got there towards the tail end, because remember, at the end of the last episode, we didn't see him.
No, we see Rick in his daytime still, and he's like, "Where's Negan at?" And then
right.
But
I'm talking about after the chase of Negan and all that. We didn't see him come back.
No, we don't. But I think they want us to assume that he gets back and he knows the plan, because remember when they flushed the Saviors to one side, there was Rick and other people ready to shoot at them.
Right, but they were coming. They blocked them in. They were coming from behind where the Saviors were coming.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Rick was there. He's part of it, but it was Maggie's plan. So I appreciate seeing Maggie step to the plate. That's something I really much like. I liked that part of this scene. I like that they know where to put their efforts, considering they said the gate is important to us long term. You saved the gate, and I like what they did. It almost seemed as if it was a reverse of what we were talking about to me
with Alexandria.
From the comic book, where in the comic book they're shooting up at the Saviors, but instead of this one they're shooting down at the Saviors, but from their place with the lights blinding them. So I really like that part. I don't know, how did you feel about that? The luring them in. How did you feel about the plan?
Plan overall was awesome. I really want to talk about
this.
Huh?
We're gonna go to that next part.
Yeah, I know. It's like I don't think this was all Maggie. I think this was a conjoined effort that they talked about prior to anything going.
Yeah.
Because they were set up a couple days before the Saviors, hence why everybody was honking the horns when they saw them, and they were in certain positions, so they already knew what they were going to do.
A day in advance, yeah.
Yeah, so they knew. Well, I'd say a couple days when they had this plan already in mind. They were just timing when they get to them. But plan fell off without a hitch. I thought it was cool. I'd like the fact that she used the captured saviors as collateral and say, hey, you want them alive, back off. And when she realized she was not getting that, she was like, oh well, hide them anyway.
Yes. And the thing about it is, like, it also shows who she is as a person.
Yeah.
Like, and it also shows those saviors, like the main guy, I don't know what his name is, the guy that has his hair come back and kind of blondish brown hair, and he's trying to say, like, look at, I'm here still. Because the little boy, Henry, allows them to escape when the attack happens. He's pulling his own Carl moment. Carl!
What'd I tell you?
Oh.
What'd I tell you? They were going to do that?
So, some of them stick around because they hear what Simon says, like they're not worth anything to us anymore.
Yeah.
You think that for the most part, some of them, more than just some of them, would stay, I think. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's jump into that negative stuff that we're talking about. Alright, so during this attack, they actually shoot some of them with arrows. They get Tobin with a knife. They get some of those.
First thing first. Alright, the overall way this thing was shot. Just like Carl's episode. And they're in the, everything was pitch black. You had to start making out who is who by their fucking shadows. That's complaint number one with me. Stop fucking doing these, even with a high-def TV and a 4K TV, when you can't see the fucking characters' faces or expression, you lose a lot of the fucking story in the facial features.
And then they also do that effect that I was talking about previously, where everything's kind of grainy.
Yeah.
Top of that, and dude, that's my same.
But here's the thing: the grainy aspect. You know where that comes from? It being too fucking dark. And the little bit of light that shines through is reflecting the graininess. That's what it is.
Here's the thing with making this type of stuff. You don't have to make it that dark. Just, you know, we understand. Like, make it so the moon's light is...
You know what I would have preferred? They would have done this episode in black and white if they were going to try that route. Because then you get the multiple shades of gray, and you still get into people a lot more standing out and a lot more visuals than you would an all pitch black fucking episode.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This episode, 60% of it is a waste because of the way it was shot at night.
I get you. All right, so that leads us into. So that came really apparent when all of the, to me at least, when the hilltop backed off and the saviors started coming out in the open, and you see like truly how dark it is when all the lights are off, right?
Yeah.
And that's, I totally get that, what you're saying there. So they started shooting. They actually hit some of the hilltop, and this whole poisoned arrows and weapon stuff starts to happen, right?
Because you know the one aspect that pissed me off, and it goes back to the darkness, is, and I hate to sort of dissuade this, but it was the fact that I didn't know that Dwight shot at what's her face until after she said, you know, well, he didn't aim for me as hard. And even though he was doing it to save her from, you know, Simon, he's still, now her and Daryl are switched. But I couldn't even tell that she was the one who got shot by him because of how dark.
I couldn't tell it was Tara, and then until she went like, oh, and turned all the way around and did this fake, until she did the fake death fall.
But even when she did that death fall, it was still so dark that the little bit of light that did shone after she did that fall and hit the back of the car, I could have sworn that was just any female or any.
At first, I thought it was a random chick. I just thought it was random female. Number one. And then I was like, oh, it's Tara, and that's why Dwight shot her, because he's trying to save her from the killing blow that Simon would give her with the axe.
Yeah, you know one, his weapons aren't dipped in the blood.
They aren't tainted, yeah.
Yeah, so
that's the point. We'll get to that a little bit later. The thing that I want to focus on is the next thing that, after all this happens, well, let's just stick with it. Later on, Tara is talking with Daryl about this, and I love the scene because we start to see Daryl, like I said, I want to see Daryl with dialogue, and this is what I like to see, where he's actually talking with Tara about how he's feeling, how his anger is towards Dwight and stuff like that. And I like seeing that from Daryl. At least I like.
No, that conversation actually is one of my negatives.
Okay, I like it. I like the fact that he's able to distinguish where they're at and things like that. But I do think, though, he is going further down the rabbit hole than where he was earlier, you know, with his hatred for Dwight.
Well, here's my problem.
Tara is realizing that, okay, Dwight is on her side.
Yeah.
Even after I tried to kill him. And she's realizing the possible error of her ways.
But here's my problem with that. Daryl's being very hypocritical. Because he chewed her out for wanting to kill him. Wanting to kill Dwight. And he was like, he's with us now. And all this spiel. And then an episode and a half later, hey, look who turned the other cheek and said, fuck it, I want him dead. And what the fuck?
He laid off of it a couple episodes ago, and now he's laying it back on very thick.
After reprimanding somebody who wanted the same thing.
So she was laying it on thick a few episodes, and now she's laid back.
Yeah, so
they're doing this tug of war thing right now,
and this goes
I want Tara to make him wake up to this, because Tara's now going to be the calmer head, I guess, in this.
But this goes back to shitty writing on the Walking Dead creative staff, because you had one character, Tara, full gung-ho wanting Dwight dead, and it made sense for her to be the catalyst and have Daryl be the Rick type character to her while she's playing the hot shot, no, let's just kill, i.e. Daryl type, early Daryl. And now they flipped the switch on both of them for no fucking reason but just to do it. Because now all that talk that Daryl gave her was all hypocritical and thrown out the window.
I get what you're saying. And I agree that they shouldn't have...
It's really bad writing.
They could have kept it the way they had it, where Daryl is more trying to pull her aside while Tara's still gung-ho, but giving him that same dialogue. That's my main thing.
It could have been written a lot smarter. That's all I'm saying, because it makes him very hypocritical, and no reason for him to be jumping ship all of a sudden.
So, I appreciate them giving him these moments. I appreciate that, because I want him to have those, because I want him to remain a staple.
Yeah.
But like you said, yeah, they're doing a little back and forth here that it doesn't need to be this back and forth. It doesn't necessarily. It could have been just Daryl trying to persuade her to slow down and chill, like it was previously. So that happens. The big thing that happens as well during this, after they've all been hit. These people from the hilltop have been hit with arrows or knives or whatever. Is the infection thing, is they actually decide that it's going to turn them, right?
That's another part that just had me laughing.
Yeah, so they all turn, and this is where I get frustrated. I like that some of the comments to Maggie while she's walking, especially the guy at the end of the red shirt at the end of the stairwell, at the top of the stairwell, when he tells Maggie, you know, like, we wouldn't be here without you, you know, and it makes her kind of realize that, you know, that's great. But I get frustrated when this happens again. And this has already happened once or twice in the series, where somebody gets infected in the middle of the night or something and dies, and nobody can hear a goddamn thing. Nobody's watching. Nobody's paying attention. You got the door's wide open. What the hell? When was the door wide open? Down the stairs, and nobody hears that?
Here's my question with this. All right, we're about a year or two into the zombie apocalypse, maybe 3. Okay, maybe 3. I'm going off a show only, and you figured, okay, you're sleeping, but you should know to always have something next to you so you're ready to take something out in case it comes at you. All these people that got bit, I'm talking about just the ones who got bit, none of them had a freaking blade on them.
Yeah, not even a knife.
I'm sorry, no machete, no pocket knife, no sharp object laying next to them, or even a pistol. Just like,
and also they're so helpless too. Like,
yeah, it was like
literally, like they've been alive for years.
It was like one fox entered the chicken coop and killed half the chickens.
Yeah, I was really upset with that. that they're using that as another way to make the whole thing a cluster. You know what I mean? They're using that as a way to make it a cluster, and now they have to fight back again. Like, no, how about you just start getting them some momentum? How about you just start giving them some momentum? Because as of right now, they're just trying to prolong this crap. And that's what it seems to me.
But here's the thing. I would appreciate this if none of the Hilltop people that were unbitten died. It would have made more sense if the guys turned when they turned, and maybe just one guy gets bit and eaten, what have you, but all the other ones then get wiped because people were on top of it. You had one guy that was up that entire freaking night, and there's nobody covering him. And then the one lady, the female doctor who gave Sadiq so much crap at the beginning, she's like, help! Sorry, chunk.
Not only that, is everybody freaking hard of hearing? Is everybody hard of hearing?
Or heavy sleepers.
Yeah, well, like I said, we're in the zombie apocalypse now for 3+ years. How do you not have a knife? How do you not know how to, at least, that you're supposed to stab them in the head?
And how are you not sleeping in shifts?
Or shifts, and that was the other thing. It's like, shifts! For crying out loud, shifts! Nobody has to sleep all at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's like, the writers and the team are doing this on purpose, and this whole thing pissed me off. Because I would get it, like you said, if those people that were injured, if the people that got injured, if they wanted them to truly turn, then that's fine. They could have made it into the disease thing like they did at the prison. Like they get diseased, or like how Gabriel's getting diseased, right?
Yeah.
But then they could treat it, or if they die, they die. But then, you know, it's more of a heartfelt loss, like we actually lost our people, instead of just being some random cluster F of attack.
Yeah, just to have more add more to the body count, because that's all that latter part of the episode was. Oh, we're just going to add body count. We need to get rid of some extras.
I felt like exactly like they're just doing it to put the bodies on the, knock them dead.
Yeah.
And so many issues with this, and we've mentioned a good portion of them. Sleep in shifts, have a knife next to you. Why are you so helpless? You've been in this for years and years. Everybody's hard of hearing, it seems. They're all heavy sleepers. It's like somebody falls down a goddamn stairs and you can't hear them. This part got me so frustrated. I was just watching, I just shook my head. I did a face palm. I was like, are we kidding? Are we kidding? This is how it's going to happen?
And you know what pisses me off? It makes me think back. It's like, because Rick and the others, the mainstays, know better. Because if we go back to when they were sleeping in the motorhome and the little campsite, what were they doing? Sleeping in shifts. I don't care if you have a wall and you feel protected. When does the sleeping in shift stop? Never. Never. You're in a world full of dead people who want to eat you. Sleeping in shifts should never end.
This section of the episode was my biggest issue with this episode.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, I have major stuff going on in this episode I'm not happy with. Do you any more negative that you want to put on this scene, this whole thing right here?
Oh, yes. Okay. The fact that I don't see anything from Negan and Jadis until the freaking scene for next week's episode.
Oh.
That pissed me off. Because they could at least given me 5 minutes of a little bit build up, even if they would have shown her still driving with him knocked out. I would appreciate that, because it was okay, you're saving it for next week, alright, I can deal with that. But you left the whole episode be centered on the hilltop, and that sort of pissed me off. Well, I appreciate the fact that finally you get shit going with the fighting, and Savior's finally coming down and doing stuff. But at the same time, the whole episode probably could have used a break, and probably would have benefited from that, writing-wise. Because then you would have not had what I think is one of the worst written episodes.
Yeah.
So
there's also one thing that happens in this episode. It's with Sadiq. Well, there's a couple things that happen with Tobin, of course, and Carol. How'd you feel about that? I was okay with how they came back to realize, okay, it's okay to do what you got to do and feel how you feel. I'm okay. I'm gonna survive.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't survive.
Yeah.
I was okay with that. I thought it was.
See, that sort of irked me, because the moment they started having that conversation, it pissed me off because he's like, okay, I understand. Carol and him had a slight thing going.
Yeah.
And right there, when that was going on, I was like, man, that could have been nice.
It could have been like.
It could have been real nice.
I liked Tobin for her when they were in Alexandria.
Yeah.
I really
it's
did.
like, and when he says, "Hey, stranger, long time no see," I was like, oh man, that could have been nice.
And I thought when she actually has to kill Tobin, I thought the scene from the comic was about to happen. Because remember, there's a moment when she's holding him, and it's like she's thinking almost for a second there. And I'm like, is she gonna go in for the kiss?
I think she was heartbroken overall, and I thought the same thing, but I said to myself, no, if they did that here, they totally would have messed up how badass she had become, and everything that they built would have been destroyed.
Yeah, it would cheapen her character.
Yeah, because it would put her back at the Carol that was in the prison.
Or not even before that, probably. It would be Carol from the campgrounds with her.
Yeah.
Ass.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they didn't, but I thought they were going to do that for a second there. And
well, I was saying more the prison because she was trying to get herself involved with Lori and Rick. It's still, which they kept that when she was. No, I'm talking about they did a little bit of that as well, in not as heavily induced, but she did have a little moment there when she was by herself. It's just, I thought it would have cheapened her so much, man.
But I felt it. I thought it was coming.
Yeah.
I was like, there's all this stuff that's pissing me off. They're probably gonna do this too.
I think in that moment when they showed her looking at him and they focused on her eyes, I think she was more angry at the fact that he let himself get hurt. I was like, this could have been something. Damn it, why'd you have to get hurt?
Yeah, I'm just glad they didn't do what they did in the comics with their character, like as a death scene.
Yeah.
Thankfully. Then the other big thing, the conversation that kind of is the reason they have the title, was between Sadiq and Rick. Sadiq's trying to help Rick clean up a gash, and he talks to him about this prayer about the dead, and Rick doesn't want none of it.
Yeah.
Do you blame Rick? I don't blame Rick at this moment.
Rick's got to remember. I don't know. I don't want like him being in deer in headlights. Rick, yeah, because. And this goes with my problem with the female doctor that gives Sadiq as well, because both her and Rick were pretty much the same when it pertained to Sadiq. And Rick's got to remember why Carl sacrificed himself for this guy.
Yeah.
He can't look, and he can't push that off, because now he's like really disavowing anything that Carl told him. And I'm like, it's not the guy's fault. Remember that. If you hadn't shot up at him while you were with Carl, maybe Carl wouldn't have to chase after him and find all this stuff out. Maybe he would have never had to save him. Think about that, Rick.
Yeah, so I don't blame Rick, though, because he's still mad that he lost his son.
No, I don't blame him, but I think...
His reaction was, like, normal, but... hopefully there comes a point in my mind where he starts to see that Sadiq is trying to do good things.
Yeah. Because the one things, and I go back to them being in the sewers. Sadiq was saying, I want to make Carl's life worth it.
Yeah.
By doing what I can. Rick heard that. Yet he's still giving him shit for it. I'm like,
yeah. But
yeah, that's where I'm going to leave that at.
Alright, so... overall, we have major issues with this episode. We have 3 episodes left, so we are at this point where we need to start seeing something, or Lynn and I are going to be very pissed, and we're going to complain a lot. What did you... I missed the scene for next week. What did you get for that from next week's scene? Was that from the Talking Dead? Did you see that one?
No, actually, I still have to watch Talking Dead. I only saw the one that was straight after the episode.
So neither of us have seen it then. Okay. But what are you hoping from here? The next one's called Still Gotta Mean Something, and then it jumps into Worth and Wrath. I think this next one, Still Gotta Mean Something, is going to be another one of these one kind of episodes, and then Worth and Wrath is going to be the combined final war.
Alright. From the clip that I saw at the end of this episode, we know we're finally going to see Jadis and Negan.
Okay.
And she has Lucille in hand and has him in the dumpster that she had Rick naked in. So I'm curious, is she going to make a painting out of him? It's like, or is she going to like demand why he sent his cronies to kill her people? Like I said, I still think the meat grinder is going to play effect in it. So we will see the meat grinder, at least I from what I'm believing. Because why else take him back to the junkyard? But I hope it's split a little bit more. I'm hoping that by the end of next episode, Negan actually deals with Simon as well. And have the rest of the Saviors be like, what the hell?
Yeah, something's got to happen there because Negan knows something they don't know.
Yeah. So, I just don't be central focus on one aspect. And no more night scenes.
Yeah, please go to the daytime.
No more night scenes.
I hope they do. And let's get really close to this final battle in the last 2 episodes.
Yes.
So, that wraps it up for us today. I have to go have a conversation with the doctor. So, Lynn, can you send us off?
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you, as always, for listening to us rant about the most recent Walking Dead episode. Last week's Walking Dead episode, for some reason, just got released to the public. I guess it was still unlisted. Even though I had it set to go like the day after, like I usually do. So last week's episode's up. Also, my Halo Loot Crate box is up as well. Check those 2 videos out now. So, and then, let us know what you like, what you don't like. That's it for me.
You guys join us for all of our social media. Stay tuned for the podcast on Thursday. That'll be fun. And check out, like Lynn said, all of our episodes of The Walking Dead review. For Lynn, I'm Sean. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.